Martial law in Manchester, England. Ladies and gentlemen, over 5,000 troops are being deployed on the streets in Manchester after what Britain says is the largest terror attack in almost 10 years. Now, with that said, you can read the headlines here. Manchester Arena attack, 22 killed at Ariana Grande gig. The bomber's name is Salman Ramadan Abedi. And here's what I find interesting is there's already articles out about who this person is and his background, and supposedly he's connected to ISIS and ISIL. Is this a staged event, ladies and gentlemen, or is this the act literally of a crazy, deranged, lunatic terrorist that wanted to blow himself up to prove a point? What do you think? Now, what I find fascinating is 5,000 troops are going to be deployed as a deterrent. Now, let me just kind of read something to you real quick. This is from the Telegraph. Soldiers deployed on streets in race to foil second terror attack after threat level raised to critical. This is by Gordon Rayner. Up to 5,000 soldiers will be deployed on the streets amid fears that Manchester's suicide bomber had accomplices preparing further attacks. Theresa May has announced, for the first time in 10 years, the Prime Minister raised the terror threat to the highest possible level from severe to critical, meaning an attack is expected imminent. So, with that said, if there is an imminent attack lingering, my question is, where, when, what was the last terror drill done in conjunction? That would be a good blueprint to look at for possibilities. So be prepared, be vigilant, whoever it is that's orchestrating these events, whether or not it really is ISIS or ISIL, and if it is, who's controlling them? And why is it now? Here's the deal, too. If you guys go to the recent video I did on the Manchester questions that I had, first of all, for anybody that lost their life, any family members that had or knew somebody that lost their life or was injured, my heart goes out to you. My condolences. Let's find out who the real bad guys are. Now, there's conflicting reports on the channel. There's been several people that said they live in the area and they can't find any evidence to the victims, like any social profiles. And there's also people that are saying it's absolutely legit and they know somebody that was killed in the blast. So what I think is key right now is to get as much information together as possible to who came up with the stories. Were the stories put out before the events? If so, are there any timestamps? Because there's been staged events before that the people that put these events together were so, or thought we were so stupid, the people, that they actually came up with donation pages before the events unfolded on the news. Pretty bizarre, isn't it? Literally raising the terror threat level to imminent. Is this just to keep everybody on the edge? Oh, and you do know that they canceled, or not canceled, but temporarily the campaigning efforts are suspended. And then I was also looking at the area. You can see right here, this is the area. It's about 44.5 square miles. 5,000 troops in this small of an area, or in this size of an area, in my opinion, is martial law, straight up. This is like what happened in Boston when they had those, when they pinned the Boston bombings onto terror suspects using pressure cookers, supposedly. And then I remember watching on CNN once, they said over 100 people had their limbs blown off. Well, I can't find records of over 100 people that had their limbs blown off. There's only a few images, and the images look very peculiar to people that lost their limbs in Iraq. They look like crisis actors to me and many other people that I talk to. So either the media makes it look like these events are staged with the cinematography that they use, or they are staged, which doesn't mean people didn't get injured or killed by any means. The question is, if it was staged and people were injured and killed, then that would give you an idea on who the real culprit is. That's why it's good to question everything, stay alert, stay vigilant, and also connect with people around the world and that are on scene to get to the truth. And what's next? Does this have something to do with Brexit? Does this have something to do with I was looking at the actual statistics on, who is most likely going to win the elections, and that over the past few weeks, the Conservative Party went from like 17% lead to about 12%, and then this happens. So once again, I just find it very peculiar that this terrorist event happens 4 days after the Manchester Police Department came up with a public apology about the exercise they did last year, which is only 9.3 miles away from this exact event, where they had a Muslim terrorist extremist actor say Allah Akbar as he blew himself up. I mean, just the coincidences here are overwhelming, in my opinion. What about yours? So, with that said, what's the end game? What's the end play here? What cards are being presented, and what can we do about it? Question everything. LeakProject.com. Be the change you want to see.